Hello everyone, my name is Sniping is Fun, and I welcome you all back to the next Super Smash Bros. Discussion on my channel. It's going strong. I've done 3 of them so far, talked about 2 different characters, Waluigi and Gino. I've also talked about my thoughts on, in discussion of the future of Smash Bros. And where I think it's going to go. This time, I want to talk about this topic specifically because it's such a hot topic when it comes to like the Super Smash Bros. World and the fandom and the speculation and the fan base and all the other anything doing with Smash Bros. Online or off, because it's such a hot debate and such a hot topic. It's a distinct difference between pros and cons and for and against and arguments that this specific topic gets on Smash Bros. I have to talk about it because I've talked about it before on my channel numerous times, and as a fan of this franchise in Smash Bros., I want to give my thoughts on it. I did it before. I know I did it before, I think, during Smash Bros. 4 and whatnot, and I think I mentioned it sometime during Smash Bros. Ultimate's time coming out or whatever. I'm not fully sure. But, you already know what the name of the video is, the thumbnail, and shit. You know exactly what this topic is, and if you're in the Smash Bros. Fan base, you've probably been in this debate and in the discussion of this somewhere. IGN, Facebook, YouTube, MySpace, Twitter, your friend out on the street arguing the console wars in the 90s. I don't know what. This is so funny. It's the Fire Emblem debate. The Fire Emblem hate slash, fandom slash whatever one you want to call it, but I'm just going to call it as it is. The Fire Emblem hate in the Smash Brothers series. This is such an interesting topic to talk about, and I want to talk about this one heavily. This was one of the topics when I came up with this series, come back to my discussions, I heavily wanted to talk about. And for those of you that don't know what this is, and if you're in the Smash Bros., if you're coming across this video, you're probably a Smash Bros. Fan, or at least a fan of my channel, and you know what I'm talking about. There is a certain part of the Smash Bros. Fan base, or gamers in general, that hate how Fire Emblem is represented and treated in Smash Bros. Nowadays. They think it's too much, they think it's overrepresented, that it doesn't deserve it, so on and so forth, and they get mad when a new character gets announced. It happened with Byleth, it happened with Corrin, it happened with Chrom, it happened with everyone since freaking Robin. Because they think it's too much. But without further ado, I'm going to catch up some of you guys on what this topic is even about before I even remotely give my opinion on it, which I'm assuming if you've watched my channel, you know Smash Bros., you probably have played Nintendo before, you know what Fire Emblem is, but let me give you a quick insight on what Fire Emblem is. It is a strategy RPG franchise created back in 1990 by Intelligent Systems, which is the second party owned by Nintendo. It's also responsible for the Advance Wars series, the Nintendo Wars, the Wars franchise as well, which came out before Fire Emblem came out, because that started in the 80s. And it went on to now 17 games, 3 houses on the Switch is the 17th game in the series. It has 1 mobile game in Heroes. It has numerous games dating from the original Famicom now to the Switch. A good chunk of the series when it first started off was only in Japan, and it didn't get localized until after Marth and Roy were included in Melee, which at the time was a Japanese exclusive franchise. And since then, Ike's Games, Awakening, Fates, Shadows of Valentia, whatever, all these different games have come out, and it's become a fairly well popular, fairly well beloved Nintendo franchise that Nintendo heavily advertises and heavily utilizes. It's become one of the mainstay franchises in Nintendo's lineup over the last 10 years. And to be fair, that comes from the fact that it's one of Nintendo's oldest franchises. So there you go. The likes of Marth, Roy, Ike, Corrin, Robin, Lucina, Byleth, Chrom are all Fire Emblem characters. And without further ado, that's really all it is. That's a quick little update for those of you that don't know what Fire Emblem is or haven't played one, and you want to know what the heck the characters are. But yes, the whole thing that I have especially been noticing, and this has been a major thing really since Smash Bros. 4. I didn't really notice this in Brawl, and I definitely don't think it would have been a complaint in Brawl, because back in Brawl, I feel Fire Emblem was underrepresented. But ever since they started adding the Awakening, the Fates characters, 3 houses, whatnot, yeah, people have been going and going ballistic. You can see reaction videos online when Fire Emblem characters get announced for Smash Bros. Where people go ballistic because these people are, just hate seeing Fire Emblem characters in Smash Bros. Now, I'm going to be fair in this debate. I am obviously siding with the fact that I feel Fire Emblem is finally getting the franchise representation it deserves. It's finally getting that. It's a mainstay, old school, classic, long running Nintendo franchise, and I think it's finally getting what it deserves. That's going to be the second part of this thing. But I will give the haters and the detractors and the people that don't like it and think that it is overrepresented the benefit of the doubt and start this discussion off giving my thoughts on what they do. Okay, so normally the complaints for this Fire Emblem hatred, I put it in the quotation because some of it is hatred. There is clear people that just hate Fire Emblem getting treated like it is and just don't like the franchise and never have played it and just don't understand it and then see it all in Smash Brothers. But there's also people that just don't like it being represented as much as it is, and they are fans. I've seen variation on the hatred and variation on the complaints. But normally they say it's overrepresented, which right now it's at 8 characters. Which, yeah, I can get what you're saying, that might be a little bit much, but also Pokemon and Mario have a lot of characters too, and people are like go on and say, oh, well, those are the mainstay franchises. They're long-time, popular, iconic franchises, even though Fire Emblem is too. But they got a point somewhat there. There's a bit too much, and they complain about the moveset potential, and like almost a lot of at least half the Fire Emblem characters fight almost identical. Basically like Marth, Roy, Ike, not like Chrom and Lucina. Marth, Roy, Chrom, and Lucina all fight fairly similar. The other half's kind of original with Ike, Corrin, Violet, and Robin. They complain about like it's all being sword users. About various characters on the roster in representing Fire Emblem are all pretty much the same type of moveset. That other franchises have more originality, so there's like them having bigger, larger rosters means more variety, and it's not all the same thing. And that it's not a franchise that really warrants it getting 8 characters or anything big, apparently, because sometimes people even complain about 5 and 6. And they especially will go crazy if you mention over 8. But yeah, like I can see where you're coming from. Like if you think that it's a franchise that's not as well known, that's not as popular as like a Mario or a Pokemon, and they complain about the fact that Fire Emblem gets all these characters, but other franchises like F-Zero, Legend of Zelda, and Kirby and Donkey Kong, and all these other franchises that are still old school franchises, some of which are older than Fire Emblem, some of which are newer than Fire Emblem, have less characters. I get where you're coming from. You want it more equal representation. You want other franchises to get representation. You think other characters from certain series deserve to get representation. I get you. I'm fine with that. I understand. I do too. I also think that you can do both and have Fire Emblem get the characters I feel it deserves in those franchises, but whatever floats your boat. But yeah, I can see where they're coming from. Like other franchises don't seem to get the love that, Sakurai kind of gives to Fire Emblem, in that he's like playing fan favorites because that is one of his favorite franchises. So I can understand where they're coming from. I get that it could be overrepresented. It's a bit much. Other franchises deserve it. They're too similar. They could have picked other characters even that represented different fighting styles, different weapon styles from Fire Emblem, which Byleth actually finally did, because it was a bow user, a lance user, and an axe user. So we finally got some of the mainstay weapon triangle in Fire Emblem in the roster finally now, after it being mostly sword users with some dragon stuff and magic thrown in the mix over the years. So I get that. That's understandable. I understand that. But that's really all my positives I understand about it. And I'm going to talk about now why I feel the hatred's a little bit much, and I think they're kind of over-exaggerating it, and why I feel Fire Emblem deserves what it's getting. People, Fire Emblem is 30 years old. 1990, the original Famicom, 17 games, a popular spin-off mobile game, Heroes, even though it's technically still counted in the main lineup. It's Fire Emblem 15 is Heroes, I think. Yeah, that's Heroes. They have a popular card game over in Japan. I think it's called Fire Emblem Cypher, something like that. So it's got that. It got a Mushu spin-off. It's actually gotten popular enough to get all these spin-offs, a card game, a mobile game, which is one of Nintendo's most popular mobile games, not including Pokemon Go, but from specifically Nintendo themselves, because that's Niantic. It's pretty much the most popular. People love it because it's not like this money-grabbing thing like a lot of things. You can put money into it, but you don't have to. And it has like all the Fire Emblem cast, from Marth's games up to Byleth and Three Houses. They've represented like everything, with original characters too. It's 30 years old, one of Nintendo's oldest franchises. It's one of Nintendo's oldest franchises. And people say, oh, it's only recently gained popularity. Here's the thing though, back in the day it was still pretty damn popular in Japan, and Japan is where Smash Brothers is made, and then you have, it became popular in Melee. They put it in the American European versions. That became popular. They started localizing the games, and they didn't do so well. And then you get the Shadow Dragon, which did pretty crap, and then we never got Heroes of Light and Shadow outside of Japan. And then, boom, you get, this is the best chance. If Awakening doesn't do good, the series is going to die, and Awakening did really good. And you get Fates, which a lot of people didn't like. I thought Fates gets a little too much hate. It's not that horrible of a game. It's definitely good in gameplay and features, like the online stuff and the building your castle and whatnot. Shadows of Valentia, we got Gaiden remakes. We got a game that we never got in Fire Emblem 2, Gaiden, brought over here. And I thought Shadows of Valentia, as much as that kind of gets its own haters and detractors, I thought that was a pretty good game too, actually. And then Heroes was pretty damn fun. I remember playing that at work on break and whatnot. I just enjoyed it because it was cool to see all the characters crossing over and everything. And it being like a free version that they actually kind of made it feel like a Fire Emblem. And then we got Three Houses, which was a really good game. And it's the return to home consoles, new Switch, so on and so forth, voice acting, all this cool story and whatnot. I feel it deserves it. Here's the thing. Here is the major thing, and this is why I agree with Sakurai. And Sakurai said this back around, I think, the time Corrin came out in the DLC in Smash 4. He compares, and I think I know I said this in a video before too, he compares Fire Emblem to Pokemon, a franchise that's super character-driven, super character-based. New Pokemon every generation, new Fire Emblem characters every game. Most Fire Emblem games are totally in their own realm, in their own story. There's hardly ever a prequel or sequel or same universe game. It's all its own same thing. So it's constantly starting a new cast every game, building up a new world every game. Like in Pokemon, you get a new generation with new Pokemon every game, every generation, and there's a ton of them. Every Pokemon generation has a ton of a ton of characters, as does Fire Emblem have a ton of characters, and it's a long-running character-driven franchise. Fire Emblem is definitely character and story-driven. You get to fall in love with these characters. You don't want them to die. You don't want the death mechanic to take them. You want to practice and retry the mission over and over again. Which, the good thing is, they've taken that away, so it's a little more casual, and newcomers can get into the franchise a little bit easier, get used to the gameplay, and then play on the difficulty where you lose a person, they're gone for good. So it's definitely, they found ways to bring in newer fans to the franchise, which definitely helped it sell better because you can make it a little bit easier and focus more on your customization, make it training your units and the story and the characters. He compared the two. So in my opinion, you can't really represent Pokemon that well with only representing a couple of different generations. But the same thing is, you can't really represent Fire Emblem well with only a couple different games. People keep saying, oh, they just want the Marth, Roy, and Ike. But then where's Three Houses? Where's Fates? Where's Awakening? Where's Shadows of Valentia? Where's the new games? You can't just represent certain games and whatnot, which then goes back to their complaint of, they're all the same, they're all sword users. You're pretty much taking away all the originality there. You're taking away Robin with his magic and Corrin with their dragon stuff and Byleth with the other weapons, but you want to go back to just the sword users because of the classics, the original stuff before Fire Emblem took over Smash Brothers. I don't get it. People complain about the stupidest things. They say, there's too many sword users. But then we give them more originality. Oh, there's too many Fire Emblem. But then we take away a couple, and then this and that. It's the complaints, in my opinion, from the Smash Bros. Fan base, and anyone that complains about how Fire Emblem is represented in Smash Bros. Confuses me, because they jump from one topic to the next, to the next, to the next. In my opinion, and I say this right now, and I say this to anybody I see when I see the debates on Smash Bros. Groups on Facebook and on YouTube and whatnot, in my opinion, Fire Emblem is finally getting the representation it truly deserves, being such a classic, long-running, character-driven, million-character-plus franchise. It's finally getting properly represented. I understand in Melee, it was just Marth and Roy, because Roy was a new big advertisement game, Fire Emblem 6 coming out on the Game Boy Advance, Fire Emblem Binding Blade, and Marth was the OG original Lord of the series. It was only in Japan, 2 characters, makes sense, it's fine. But then when it came to Brawl, I feel they should have got 3 characters. They totally cut Roy out and put in Ike, because Ike's games were getting big at the time, Path of Radiance, Ray, and Dawn. But Roy should have stayed, or they should have added Micaiah, or put in someone else. I feel it was a little underrepresented in Brawl. Only 1 stage, some music tracks, Lynn as an assist trophy. It was there. It was better than Melee, but given that it was starting to come out in the West and come outside of Japan, I feel the series deserved better at that time. Then we get Smash Bros. 4. Awakening is the big newest game, and they represent with both Lucina and Robin, thus giving people that complain about, like it only being sword users, something different. Like Lucina was kind of like a character series similar to Marth, but Robin brought in the magic, and it brought in also another female character being like the you could pick in the game as an avatar, male or female. And then we got Corrin, which then people started complaining like, oh my god, they're advertising this and it's marketing this and whatnot. Which people, Smash Brothers, as much as it's also a fan demand and like representation of stuff like that game and like giving the fans what they want and popularity and whatnot, it's also advertising and marketing. The series has always been built on that. It's always been a mix of popularity versus advertisements and marketing. That's kind of Smash Brothers' thing. But like we finally started getting, in my opinion, proper representation, because at that point, at the end of Smash Brothers 4, we had like 5 or 6 Smash Brothers characters, because they added Roy back as DLC, brought in Corrin, brought in Lucina, brought in Robin, and kept Marth and Ike. Yeah, 6 characters. I think it was properly represented. And then they added in Byleth and Chrom through Smash Bros. Ultimate, and people just flipped their brain